YouTube, what the crap is going on? HeirofCarthage and Patchy here, and do we have an interesting show for you tonight? Have you ever played Shogun 2 online and run into a troll army? Well, I certainly have, so let's have a discussion about it. I hope you enjoy it. Well, hello there, YouTube. Let's get started with this discussion about troll armies. Now, let me start this whole thing off and just let you all know that my opponent in this match did no trash talking. He did not rush the match. He didn't do anything of the sort that was any way derogatory, mean, or otherwise malignant. So this is just a commentary about the army he's chosen more so than him. So I do not have a problem with my opponent. My opponent showed up as a 1-star. I did not care to go check his player record. I still haven't. But I'm guessing that he was not new. And the reason I'm guessing this is going to be shown to you by the army that he fields. Now this is a 1-star, so I'm playing in low funds. And as a 10-star, that means I can bring very few troops if I bring a lot of veterans. So basically what you have as an option, I'm going to go into slow-mo just so you all can see more what happens. Whenever you play as a 10-star in low funds, you have the option of bringing tons of cheap troops and trying to inspire them with your general. Or you have the option of bringing a couple of very good troops and trying to steamroller their entire army. I have obviously gone for the few units of good troops trying to steamroll the army. I'm playing 2 Naginata Samurai. I'm using Renyo's teachings, as well as a few other things, so you can see that these guys have massive defense, not real high attack, but very high morale. And then I'm using Patchy's Bodyguard, and then I've got a decent Yari Cav here that's mostly just charge attack. So anything that could steamroller light Cav in case my opponent brought a lot of light Cav. So what did my opponent bring? Well, let's take a look at his army. My opponent I thought was a new player, so I wasn't expecting much here, and then when I saw his army I realized I was up against a major troll army. And so when you're playing this game and you're a 1-star, but if you've bought all of the DLCs, you have access to all the DLC units. So let's see what my opponent's brought. He's got his general. He's got a bow cab. Now I say my opponent was 1-star. I could be wrong. No, he's not 1-star because he's got a couple of upgrades in his general. It was a low number of stars though, because we're obviously still in the low funds battle. So whatever it was, it couldn't have been more than 3 stars, I think. So my opponent has his general with a bow and a little bit of attack stats. He's got a bow cav, 2 monk cav, because remember these guys are part of a DLC. So whenever you start out the game very low level you can use them. He's got a Naginata attendant and a sword attendant. Back here he's just pulled out of hiding the meat of his troll army, which is the trollingest unit in Troll Town, and that would be the mounted gunners. And then up here on this hill he's got a long Yori Ashigaru. Not a whole lot of upgrades on this one, but still a tough unit. And then he's got this hero matchlock unit. So that's what my opponent has fielded. And what is so dangerous about this army? You all might be saying, he doesn't even have that many troops. How can it be that dangerous? Well, these mounted gunners, since I don't have any bows, he outranges me. This means that he's going to pull up like this and just start trolling me. And what do I mean by trolling? I mean that all he's got to do, shoot, retreat, shoot, retreat, shoot, retreat. These guys have an almost limitless supply of ammo, and he can just shoot my army to death. So right now, Heir is in a bad predicament here because there's not much I can do. If I charge these mounted gunners, he's simply going to run away and replace them with his monk cav, and then I'll either lose my general or my Yari cav early on, which means he's still got a bow cav and he can still troll me. Same thing with his matchlocks. So this army is totally meant as a shoot and retreat and then strike army. So you shoot, you retreat, and then you counter-strike against anything that your opponent does to come after your troll units. So my opponent, I am guessing, is not new to Shogun Total War. He knows precisely what he's doing, and I'm guessing that this is a person who has prestiged in the past, or at least gotten to rank 10, and determined that if I go make another avatar, which you can do, and use these things in low funds, that I can hammer higher ranked opponents who won't come to the battle prepared. That would be my line of thought. I can't guarantee that's what my opponent does, but it's what makes sense here. So how am I going to face this troll army? Well, my Naginatas are slow. I can't run his guys down. I'm going to start taking shots. His bow cav and monk cav are, however, at one particular weakness that he may not realize. My Yari cav is faster. So all I have to do is wait for the opportune moment. I can use my Yari Cav and my general to start a strike on his slower units, and at that point that'll usually cause some distractions where hopefully I can get my infantry engaged with his men. So I'm going to lay chase to his mounted gunners. This is going to do little to stop them. You can see I've already lost 23 men in that unit and 16 men in that unit. So his mounted gunners have already racked up, let's take a look at their kills. They've already racked up 38 kills. So I'm going to go ahead and charge my opponent's infantry. I want to keep him running. I want to keep him moving. I got my guys in the loose formation to minimize missile damage. But I'm going to continually take shots from his mounted gunner. Right there I just took about 13, 14 more losses. And it just continues to mount. I'm just getting slaughtered. But right here my opponent makes a mistake. I've now got his guys bracketed with my Naganatas, so I bring my Naganatas further to this side of the map. You can see I'm starting to push him back towards the red line. My opponent's getting troops trapped in this vicinity. So one way or another here he's going to end up losing his infantry or he's going to end up losing his cav. So I charge my Yari Cav in. I'm going to try and slow his guys down here. He thinks that I'm going to leave my Yari Cav in combat, so I do go ahead and run a charge. It kills not very many of his men, pretty minimal. I probably lose just as many cav, but I'm going to charge right back out, but that's pinned his infantry long enough that I now have his infantry within the sights of my infantry and I can start killing them. This is going to start to cause a little bit of panic because my opponent probably didn't want to get in this position. So I'm going to run a quick outflanking maneuver and run my Yari Cav in again on another charge, as I need to cause a rout as soon as possible. My opponent's army is low morale, so if I can get a chain rout started, it will definitely affect his troops. Here comes his monk cav trying to chase out my Yari Cav and my general. I'm going to retreat slightly and then countercharge again with my Yari Cav, but more so I'm trying to get him caught up in my Naginata samurai, who have easily dispatched those attendant units that he had in the vicinity. Now my opponent has gotten his monk cav trapped, and although his troll cav is in the background, racked up now 100 kills, I do have his monk cav pinned, and this is going to take away the major mobile striking component from my opponent and going to leave him at a huge disadvantage. His monk cav is now broken or wavering due to the number of enemies in the vicinity, and my Yari cav is going to have an easy time catching them, mopping them up, forcing them off the battlefield. So my opponent's one mistake there has tilted this battle to where I do have a chance to win. My opponent's bow cav gets caught up in my Naganatas. So again, once you get the fight started, your opponent will start to make mistakes. Troll armies rely on you making the mistakes that they want you to make. So even though he's shooting the P at me, he's now up to 125 kills. You can see he's getting dozens of kills per volley. My opponent still may think he's in good position, but really he just lost the fight right there, because now I have speed and I have mobility on my side. My opponent makes his first mistakes with his mounted gunners. He loses a few of them right there, not too many. He makes a huge mistake. General wide open to a Yari Cav charge from the downhill with the bonus verse Cav. His general is going to get absolutely eaten alive by my Yari Cav. Generals, even with a little bit of melee statistics, will get destroyed. So now my opponent, his infantry is vulnerable. Patchy is going to run down this hero matchlock unit and have his way with them. He'll easily destroy them. Patchy has very high melee stats and won't have any trouble whatsoever dispatching this crummy little matchlock unit, even if they're a hero. And now what that means is that his heavy gunners, of course he's going to move them in, hoping to take shots, but I'm going to immediately charge him, and the slow reload on heavy gunners is going to take its toll. And here Patchy catches the heavy gunners and starts to retribute the losses of his army by taking it out on these mounted gunners, not heavy gunners. So Patchy just completely murders the mounted gunners, drives them off the battlefield with ease, and he's going to go back and finish the job he started with these loser matchlocks. So whenever you bring a troll army, you're going to have to stick to your troll tactics, or else eventually you're going to get destroyed. My opponent was clever. He knew what he was doing. I am not asking you to... Oh, look at that guy. Got decapitated. Brutal. That is how Patchy deals with troll armies. In any case, I hope you all enjoyed this. This is a little bit of instance. Some of you all say that it's impossible to win against higher levels when you're a lower level. This battle obviously shows that if you know what you're doing, you very well could beat a higher ranked player if you can keep from making those mistakes. My opponents did make a few key mistakes there. Let's go take a look at the statistics. So I hope you all enjoyed this. There's lots of troll armies out there. It's hard to describe the full number of them. Some of them are used at large funds, some of them are used at small funds. I'm not trying to belittle my opponent. It was a very clever army to choose. Troll army is what I call it, just because I think that's funny, and I think that it's appropriate considering the way that army works. but it does not make him, you know, like a complete jerk or something for using it. Now, if it was a high-ranked player using a troll army against a low-ranked player, then I would have, you know, some other words to say about that. But in any case, I just thought that was interesting. You know, I came into that battle, I'm playing a low-ranked player, this will be easy. He's picked an extremely clever troll army, and I was lucky to have survived. Hopefully you all learned a little bit of something there, so whenever you do come up against a gimmick army, find out what its weakness is and how your troops stack up against it, and then be ready to execute quickly like I did. I saw those cav and those things in that vulnerable position where I had the speed advantage with my Yari cav. I acted quickly, pinned his units down, caused the panic, forced the mistakes, won the battle. Could have easily gone the other way though, as you saw that his army, like I said, was extremely well chosen. Now, how could I have avoided being in this position? Air made a big mistake in the army that he brought. He thought, you know what, I can bring a couple of tough infantry, a good cavalry, and I can steamroller whatever this low-ranked player is going to bring, just because, I mean, their units aren't that good. And my opponent probably assumed that that's what high-ranked players were going to do, and that's exactly why I chose this army. Look at that, 161 kills to his mounted gunners. Absolutely brutal. I do think one of the mistakes was bringing this particular matchlock unit, even though they're a hero unit. I think that, well, he probably didn't have access, actually, to another unit that he could have afforded, so that actually makes sense here, because he probably hadn't unlocked matchlock monks yet. Anyway, interesting troll army. I hope you all learned a little lesson from this. So the key here again, think, keep your wits about you on the battlefield, think quick, try and match up your strength against their weaknesses, even when your army is overall in a position where my opponent should not have lost that battle if he would have maneuvered his troops properly. So good game, I guess. Interesting army. For all you low-ranked players who are looking for ways to defeat upper-ranked players, you should keep an eye on what my opponent just did, because to be honest, it would be pretty brutally effective. HeirofCarthage signing off for now. I will be back with some more celebration videos and the SPQR campaign. I'm going to try and upload a video just about every other day. And so keep your eye open. That's going to be my best attempt, at least, as I'm trying to normalize my uploads. Like I said, HeirofCarthage signing off. I need some sleep. Got a long day tomorrow. Catch you later, YouTube. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments and thoughts below.